What's good, everyone? OJ here. Welcome back to another video. Today we've got a bunch of great information for you guys, but before we get into that, please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, and click that notification bell to get my videos first. Now we're first starting out with the perfect next-gen Nintendo Switch action RPG that I feel Nintendo and Platinum Games are going to do, and that is Astral Chain 2. Now, what spurs all of this talk is a recent message from Mr. Director Takahisa Tura over from Platinum Games, who had a special message for all of us on their Twitter account talking about the 3-year anniversary of Astral Chain. Now, in this Twitter message, Mr. Tura-san said that he's very happy that Astral Chain hit its 3rd anniversary and they are giving away a collector's edition, the Japanese version, because the collector's edition never made it to the US. I know that, but it's a Japanese version of Astral Chain collector's edition. And the tweet has this to say: Director Takahisa Tura at PG_Tura has a special message to mark 3 years of #Astral Chain. We're giving away one Japanese collector's edition signed by Tura. All you got to do is follow Platinum Games on Twitter, retweet the tweet by September 9th at 8 a.m. and the winner will be contacted via DM #AstralChain_anniversary. And this is awesome. Like, it's awesome to see them celebrate Astral Chain's 3rd anniversary. Just reminding people that Astral Chain is still a thing. It's still one of the best action RPGs, one of the best games on the Nintendo Switch, one of the best looking games on the Nintendo Switch, and easily one of those games that I feel that it's really hard to kind of pick up and play at times, but once you get the hang of exactly how the combat works and your options and what you can do, it's one of those games that give you so much variety and so much replay value. I mean, you can pick it up now at this point, 3 years later, and still have a ton of fun and just get right back into the flow of it. Now, the reason why I'm talking about how this could be a perfect next-gen type of game for Nintendo is because Tura-san said that they have at least 3 games that they want to do, like he envisions at least a trilogy for it. And there's been rumors that Astral Chain 2 has already started somewhat development here or there, or at least just some of the planning phase. So I do think that this is a area where it would be great if Astral Chain 2 could hit the next generation Switch. You can have some better performance on there, probably get 60 frames per second instead of the solid 30, with some dips in some areas, but for the most part, pretty solid 30 frames per second. Great look as well when it comes to, like, the resolution doesn't really dip too low or anything. The game is a technical masterpiece on the Nintendo Switch. What they were able to do graphically and what they were able to do with the environments and the gameplay all kind of going together at one was very impressive. So I think that they could take things to the next level with the Nintendo Switch 2, or with the next gen Switch, and having Astral Chain 2, and I would absolutely love that because Astral Chain is an incredible game. So I'm hoping that they're just kind of letting people still know, like, hey, we've got Astral Chain out here. Obviously, check out the game if you haven't already played it. Clearly, Bayonetta 3 is going to be a big game for them, and it's going to be a technical marvel too when you look at the gameplay and kind of how maybe Digital Foundry breaks everything down. I think that Platinum Games is easily one of the best developers on the Nintendo Switch, where they get the most out of the system. So it's very interesting to see them talk about this. I'm very happy to see them celebrate the 3rd anniversary. We did get the sales numbers. Astral Chain is over 1.2 million, going on 1.3, so very good on that front. So it wasn't like the game completely flopped or anything like that, and it's really hard to find a physical version of that game. Some places you can, but a lot of places here in the US you cannot. So Nintendo pretty much sold through all of those. It's very rare at this point. So they made money on it. And I think that Astral Chain 2 is definitely in the production phase, or at least they're talking about it and kind of setting everything up. But I feel that a Nintendo Switch 2 or a next-gen Switch release would be ideal for this style of game. But what are your thoughts on the giveaway and also Astral Chain, and what I had to say about a potential Astral Chain 2? Let me know in the comment section below. All right, and moving on to the next topic here. It looks like a Game of the Year winner, a previous Game of the Year winner, will be making its debut on the Nintendo Switch, according to a brand new rumor. This was one of the best games released last year. It Takes Two. Looks like the co-op adventure could be making its way to Nintendo Switch. So It Takes Two is a co-op focused action adventure game from 2021, GoNintendo writes, and it saw great success both critically and commercially when it was released on other platforms last year. Now it seems like Nintendo fans may have a chance to get in on the fun, as there's been talk of an upcoming Switch release. The talk in question comes from Jeff Grubb of Giant Bomb via the latest episode of the Nintendo Shack podcast. While Grubb doesn't go into too much detail, he does indicate that It Takes Two will be coming to Nintendo Switch and will likely be featured in an upcoming Nintendo Direct. This is according to his own sources, as well as those of a leaker known as The Snitch. And man, when The Snitch says something, it seems like it's happening. Now, as you may recall, this isn't the first time Jeff Grubb has talked about the rumored September Direct, previously sharing that we were in for big Zelda news and Metroid Prime ports potentially. If his word is anything to go by, it sounds like It Takes Two will be joining the roster as well. Now, this is interesting because Jeff Grubb was a guest on the most recent Spawncast, which I was on there on John's channel, Spawn Wave. Make sure you guys check that out if you haven't already done so. And he also talked about it on there as well. The rumored September Nintendo Direct, It Takes Two, Metroid Prime potentially, Zelda stuff. So, I mean, it would make sense to me. It Takes Two sold really well on Xbox and PlayStation and PC last year, and it would be great on the Nintendo Switch. It seems like it would be a natural type of game to come to the Nintendo Switch, so I'm actually a little bit surprised it wasn't sooner. Now, they are a smaller team. It is not the, big type of team or anything like that. It's the same Bleep the Oscars guy, Bleep the Oscars, yeah, that guy from Jeff Keighley's show. So that guy's always awesome. But it's cool that his team, or whoever he got to make the port, maybe potentially getting this out, because it makes sense for It Takes Two to be on the Nintendo Switch. So we'll see in an upcoming Direct. There's been rumors about Biomutant, which is another Xbox and PlayStation game from before coming over. So every now and then with these Directs, you do get a couple of these bigger Western games that are on other platforms that come over to Nintendo Switch. We've been seeing it time and time again over the years of the Nintendo Switch. So looks like It Takes Two could be joining the ranks here. Now, this isn't necessarily my type of game, but I think that it'd be great for people to be able to experience it on the Nintendo Switch. So what do you guys think about It Takes Two potentially making its way to the Nintendo Switch? Let me know in the comment section below. All right, and moving on to another rumor here. We've got some big rumors with GameCube remasters for the Nintendo Switch. I talked about this a little bit on my live stream, and I do have a bit more to add to it because I love the GameCube. I think it's a phenomenal system, and it seems like Nintendo might be gearing up for more GameCube action on the Nintendo Switch. So, multiple industry insiders are claiming that Nintendo is working on a number of GameCube remasters for the Nintendo Switch. Now, of course, these rumors stop short of sharing specifics on which games are getting the remaster treatment, but multiple different games have been floated around. Now, the games that are in question here or in this discussion are F-Zero GX, Metroid Prime, The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess, The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker, Pikmin 1, and Pikmin 2. Now, some of these aren't so surprising as they've popped up in rumors before, like the Legend of Zelda games, Metroid Prime as well, but some of them haven't really been brought up before. But obviously, this information is rumor, so you can't take it as fact, but I've got a little bit that I want to talk on this because I think that the GameCube is one of those underappreciated systems when it was out, and now decades later at this point, people are thinking, wait a minute, the GameCube was actually really good. A lot of the games, when it comes to the game design, when it comes to the content in the game, when it comes to just the gameplay, they're fantastic. You can pick them up right now at this point and have fun. No need for emulators, no need for mods, no need for anything. You just take the GameCube itself, you just put the GameCube game in there, right? The GameCube disc in there and play right then and there, and it still looks and plays incredible. So for me at least, I would love for them to bring back some of these GameCube games. Now, I'll be 100% honest with you guys, I don't have as much time as I would like to sit down and play through all the GameCube library, but I feel that there's some games that have never been remastered, that have never been brought back to modern platforms, that with a little bit of a facelift could be really cool for gamers in today's day. I think that even stuff like 1080 snowboarding or F-Zero GX, games like that would be fantastic. Games that haven't been remade over and over and over and over again, or re-released over and over again, it would be awesome. So the GameCube is a great place to start. So it seems like Nintendo will be remastering these. These won't be part of an NSO type of collection, but I think eventually Nintendo will have all of their previous systems on there, with GameCube included. But for right now, maybe they are going the remaster route. You can get more money out of people with the remaster route too, because you can probably charge $50 to $60 for them, just like they did with The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword HD, $60 for that. Even though many places had it for $50 at launch, I think that Nintendo's probably going to go that route for right now. That maybe in the future we see a GameCube NSO. But either way, if Nintendo were able to get this done, or get these GameCube remasters popping on the Nintendo Switch, that would be much appreciated. People do love the GameCube at this point, and I feel that it would be a great way to introduce some of the newer fans to some of these older games in Nintendo's history. But what are your thoughts when it comes to GameCube games potentially coming over to the Nintendo Switch in this type of way? Let me know in the comment section below. All right, and moving on to the final topic here, guys, we've got a big release that's coming out. There is a game that is sweeping the sales charts at this point before launch, and that is Splatoon 3. Plus, we have just a little bit of an update on my favorite game of the year, Xenoblade Chronicles 3. So I'm over on Amazon. You guys know how I like to track things here. On Amazon.com on the US and also in Japan, and Splatoon 3 is clean sweeping things on Amazon. New releases, Splatoon 3 has been the top game for some time now at this point, and even in bestsellers as well, which tallies it up for the year. Splatoon 3 is also the best-selling game. So new releases before launch, and also for best sellers as well. This is incredibly awesome to see, and you know that Splatoon 3 is going to have a massive launch. It is going to have a huge launch here in the US, a big launch in Europe, and a big launch in Japan, which we're going to get to in just a bit. But just to kind of know what's going on with Splatoon, so people don't realize how popular it is, Splatoon is a 10 million plus selling game on the Nintendo Switch in its second entry, which is very incredible for a newer end IP. But also another thing with Splatoon 3, guys, Splatoon 3 is one of those games that in the modern age with shooters and online play, I think that Nintendo, and with the 100 million install base, it's going to blow this game up even higher than what maybe some people thought, because the install base hasn't had a competitive big exclusive shooter all year with focusing on online play. There's been some games here and there, Mario Strikers, that's a smaller end game. It does not compete with what Nintendo's putting in resource-wise to Splatoon. So I think that this game is going to blow up. Plus, it's isolated. It's pretty much the only big Nintendo first-party IP coming out in September, so it's going to do extremely well. Nintendo's planning did a great job in flipping Splatoon and Xenoblade's release dates. It makes way more sense now at this point, because you didn't want maybe Splatoon 3 overshadowing Xenoblade, so it makes sense that they flipped them. And I think it's going to pay off, because Xenoblade is still in the top sellers as well when it comes to new releases on Amazon. It was kind of glitched a little bit beforehand, before launch and even after, but it seems like things have kind of been righted here. Number 12 on the list, so people are going to continue picking up Splatoon 3 and also getting Xenoblade 3 for the rest of the year. I don't think Xenoblade 3 is really going to fall out of the top 50 on Amazon. I think it's going to be in the eShop sales. It's one of those games that people can just pick up at any time throughout the months and the years, just like Xenoblade Chronicles 2 has sold over 2.4 million in its 4 years, and it didn't sell that right away. It got those over the years. I think Xenoblade 3 is going to be one of those legacy or evergreen light type of games. Now, in Japan, same thing kind of happening here, but it's even crazier. Splatoon fever is sweeping the nation. Splatoon 3 is the number 1, number 2, number 5, number 10 spot on there, plus the 14th spot if you include the Pro Controller, plus the 17th spot if you include the game and a memory card, plus the 20th spot if you include the game and a 128 gigabyte memory card. This is nuts. Splatoon 3 is taking over Japan, and yes, its most concentration of popularity is absolutely in Japan. I think Splatoon 2 sold over like 3 million, something crazy in Japan alone. So yeah, expect a huge launch for the Famitsu sales. And of course, Xenoblade Chronicles 3, still in the thick of things, number 32 on Amazon Japan. I think once again, just like here in the US, you're gonna get a lot of residual sales, back-end sales with Xenoblade Chronicles 3. So it's just great to see games that I'm super excited about do really well, because the bigger the install base, the bigger the fan base, the more sequels and the more games that we get in those series. And I want to see continued great support for Xenoblade, and I want to see continued great support for Splatoon, and I think that we're just going to get that with these sales results. So what are your thoughts when it comes to everything that we discussed here? Let me know in the comment section below. All right, guys, that wraps it up for this video here. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, click that notification bell, and we will see you for the next video. Peace.